Hello there, this is Kevin Kuschel in a new studio, in a new home, in a new life. Today we're looking at String Contours 2, a very interesting string sample library recently released by Strezov Sampling that blesses us with lively string swells and musical figures that need minimal MIDI editing, and spoiler, it has an absolute killer feature. But Kevin, there are so many strings libraries out there. Yes, there are many strings libraries out there, so there's fierce competition. Let's see if this one is just another blurb on the sky full of stars, or if it's actually worth picking up and bring something new to the strings table. String Contours 2 has the entire string section, violins, violas, cellos, basses, as well as an ensemble tutti patch and a solo violin and solo cello. Here's how it works. String Contours uses these shapes or contours. These are basically the way that the swell is going up and down. For example, in the 1-1, it's in 1 bar in and 1 bar out. It sounds like this. With 2-2, it's basically doubled in length. 2-1 has a 2 bar in, 1 bar out, and vice versa with 1 bar in and 2 bars out. That would sound like that. And each shape is key switchable, so you can use either these red keys down here or create sound variations or expression maps in your DAW. And then you can use multiple of these on the same MIDI track. Very helpful and saves a few tracks in your template. In String Contours 2, we also got a new type of contour, which is called inverted Normale or inverted Tremolo as extra patches. Those are accentuated at the start, and then they go quiet and then louder and louder. Sounds like this. Ooh, sweet. With the cello, sounds like this. Very nice, this little rah at the end. I love it. Now, Strezov Sampling, please, it's called String Contours. Give us a proper graphical contour for this one. This is a new shape. I would have loved to see some visual representation of it here and not just using the old graphical asset. The inverted contours are only available in the 1 bar in, 1 bar out length. Inverted tremolo, same contour here, same length, just with tremolos, and this is also great. This nice accent towards the end that really makes it sound quite musical to me. Also, these work really well in how they integrate new notes into the phrase. Pretty good stuff. In my opinion, the inverted articulations are a really good addition into the String Contours ecosystem. Now, the swells are recorded in 3 tempos, 70 BPM, 100 BPM, and 130 BPM. And then it automatically picks the best set of samples based on the DAW tempo that you've set. Let's give it a try. This is 70 BPM. (100 BPM) should be a different recording. At 130 BPM. We also got 4 time signatures, 4 quarters, 3 quarters, 5/8, and 7/8. These are not extra recordings as far as I know, but they're achieved by having some software magic pick the best available sample for each tempo. For all you crazy geese who write in 5/8 or 7/8 regularly, you can see it kind of works. There's also half and double times, also not recorded, but some software time stretching going on. So you realize like you have to be pretty careful with the tempo, else it kind of falls apart. but it helps reach a few different of these tempo and time signatures. You can really hear when they're reaching the natural limits of stretching these recordings though. Now, as you've heard, we got Espressivo. This is something we also had in String Conscious 1, but now finally in all timings. In String Conscious 1, we only had it in the 1-1 contour, and now we have it available for all instruments in all of the timings. Very nice. Something that I would have loved to see in the first release already. And we got overpressure articulations. These are great for tension writing, or just as interesting effects. It is quite specific, and I won't use it very often, but it is something kinda unique and serves its purpose. Now, here comes an absolute highlight. Polybend legatos.
Polybend legato.
What are polybend legatos? This is the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah, the best thing since sliced bread. I'm a German, I love sliced bread, but maybe this is even better. Nom, 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 nom. You can play 2 overlapping notes. Note number 1 and note number 2. And then it bends to the next note automatically at the height of the swell. And it doesn't stop here. I can add now another note. And it intelligently understands that I want to go down from the second to the third note. There's a polyphonic legato engine going on here. Strezov has always been really, really good with their polyphonic legato programming.
Our unique polyphonic true legato. Our unique polyphonic legato script can now be triggered in polyphonic,
and it really shines here. You got intervals recorded up to an octave. Except for the solo instruments that are recorded up to a fifth. And again, the best thing, this is polyphonic legato, meaning that you can hold the first note and add more bends. And the bends will always go to the nearest note, kind of intelligently. It sounds amazing. It's very playable, super useful. It sounds lively, organic. The programming here is absolutely flawless. It basically always behaves the way that I want, no matter how much I play around with it. Like I play a high note, a lower note, and then a very low note, and I change the very low note to the second very low note. Then obviously it does the bend from the very low note to the second very low note, and it doesn't touch the other two notes as I hold them. And this is just brilliant. I don't know, this is such a nice little thing that I wouldn't have expected in String Conscious 2, to be honest. There are 2 tempos, which again you can control via key switch. One is slow and teasing. And one is a faster glide that leans a bit into the note. Plus there's a tempo sync patch where you play 2 notes and after 1 bar it bends up or down. Different tempo. It sounds great, it's easy to use, very nice. These bends are a killer feature of this library. The use cases I can imagine go from cinematic music with these like trailer-ish bends, especially in the lower registers. You can use them for tension cues and also I guess in like emotional tracks, like you mentioned this solo violin. Go like a nice hard string tearing. This can be quite beautiful. And here's another new feature of String Conscious 2, slow detaché and tempo synced slow detaché. These are sets of accentuated note patterns played detaché, not quite short notes and not legato, somewhere in between at a pretty slow to mid tempo. This is a hard articulation as far as sampler because it's not really your typical short notes where you would have many round robins available, so you can press them all the time. And with the typical long articulations like sustains, there would be usually just 1 or maximum 2 samples per note attack, so no round robins. But you need round robins here. What they did is they recorded these Detaché bowings. In different timings. And the magic is twofold here. You can quantize the MIDI to the grid and then change the notes within the same phrase. And all of these patterns are, again, key switchable or sound variationable. You can change the first notes to this triplet rhythm and then the last ones to the long one. And then we got a beautiful thing going on. This is not easy for sample libraries to do. Interesting to have this. The note changes sound pretty great. Now we have 2 dynamics. These are controlled actually by the velocity. Low velocity is more delicate. And high velocity has the more expressive layer. Now, we got these rhythms or pulses in half notes, quarter triplets, eighth note triplets, and dotted notes, minim, crotchet, and so on are just different words for these note lengths. We also have a tempo synced patch that helps us stay more in line with the tempo of our DAW. Very nice. Just be careful not to overdo it. Probably best to stay within a range of 15 to 20 BPM above or below 80 BPM of where these were actually recorded. Personally, I think this is a real fun patch to experiment with, but to me it also feels like one of these patches that I would have to compose my music around, thinking like, you know, here's a sort of string conscious 2 patch that would work with my music with a bum, bum, bam rhythm. Anyway, here's my wish list for the Detaché patch. Just like with the regular swells, the dynamic note changes are not always perfectly in time. It almost sounds like it goes like because the previous note rings sort of into the next one. It's small, but yeah, something that I noticed. And I wish there would be a bit more definition in this note transition so it sounds really crisp when it changes from one note dynamically to the next one. Here's another suggestion that I have. I would love if this patch locked me into the rhythm of the selected note length. So for example, let's do a crotchet. Dum, 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 dum. I would love if whatever I do, whatever notes I press, it would only add the new note right at the perfect time. Right now, for example, if I play a new note slightly ahead, it messes up the rhythm. I love how this is done, for example, in 0G's Elements, where the next note is automatically put into the correct rhythm. And I know that Strezov Sampling can do this. They do this with the Polybend legato, where the bend plays exactly at the height of the swell. And I would really like if, when I change the note, that it would wait until it adds the next note just for the next downbeat. In my opinion, it would be really nice to have that behavior. Now, we got sustains. That's per se not super exciting, but these are the standalone sustains that haven't been there in the String Conscious 1. This is a good addition because it makes sense. Like when you want to use String Conscious in your track and use it more consistently, not just for those swells, and then you would have to use a different string sampling. No, now you can also use the same player size, the same room tone with the normal sustains, and they sound good. terms of mic positions, we got the full mix. We got the close mics. Echo. AB. And the full mix. We can pan each mic position to the left and right and also widen or narrow them down in the stereo spectrum. String Conscious 2 is a good and logical successor to String Conscious 1. It continues right where the first library ended and fills a few much requested gaps in its predecessor. It keeps that same concept of library string motions with minimal MIDI editing, but expands it with more detail, more articulations, and more of what made the first one kind of special. Together, both libraries make a wonderful bundle that's super consistent in tone, player performance, and programming. They feel like one ecosystem. We still have basically the 1-1-2-2-2-1-1-2 shapes, plus the inverted ones, and that's about it. Maybe that's a good thing. Focusing and doubling down on the simple ups and downs, the swells instead of adding a bunch of niche contours that you would never use. But I can't help but wonder if there are more contours and playing techniques that could be explored here. I'm excited to see where the journey of this string contours ecosystem will go. String Conscious 2 adds life to a composition, it adds motion, and it really benefits from these dynamics that are captured inside the recordings. You save time during the MIDI editing because the liveliness was already recorded, it's in those swells, and it's easy to bring them into the MIDI editor of the DAW. The programming overall is great. Sometimes I would wish for a bit more clarity and definition in the note changes of the swells when my notes are quantized to the grid. I would also love if the Detaché rhythms would lock me into the rhythm automatically so I don't have to guess when exactly to press the next key in an existing rhythm. Price-wise, String Conscious 2 sits at €159 intro price with a €249 regular price, which matches the regular price of String Conscious 1. If you like the first one, you'll like this one, pretty much guaranteed. If you didn't like String Conscious 1, you probably won't like this one either, because the programming, the feel under the fingers, and the workflow are so consistent. I hope this was helpful. Check out String Conscious on Strezov Sampling's website and let me know if you have any questions about the library down in the comments.